Don't work for somebody else, work for yourself.
Ugh.
But as you've
Careful
done,
what you wish for, though. My boss, she's mean.
I've told people my boss, she's a bitch. She will not let me take a day off or a
I know.
vacation or
And like,
nothing.
ma'am, just because it's Zoom and I don't ever have to drive somewhere does not mean I need to be on Zoom 11 hours a day. I gotta pee. Do I get a sandwich today? No, I do not get a sandwich today. No, must Zoom, must Zoom.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Small Business Success Talk. I'm your host, Christy Smallwood. I am really looking forward to this one because we've been talking about it for a few months in the back end of things around here. That I'm going to get to interview some of my friends this year, and I'm very excited. It's going to be a great year. I'm super looking forward to this. And right out of the gate, I get to talk to one of the most honestly vibrant people I've ever come to know. She is amazing. She's one of my speaker friends in the National Speaker Association, and she's just on fire. I love her. She and I jive very well. She's very direct, and I obviously love that. And so, if you're looking forward to having some direct conversation with people, this is definitely one of those episodes. I love her style. I love what she's about. I love her mission. So I'm going to read to you what would normally be an introduction from a stage. This is not much different. It's just a show. But I want to introduce my friend. Do you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by all of the great ideas you want to implement and all of the obstacles on your path? Would you like to replicate real change in your world and laugh a little along the way? If you are answering yes, friends, you are in the right place. If you're answering no, you might be in denial. After stirring up difficult conversations for over 2 decades, performing stand up in New York comedy clubs, earning the rare CSP designation, and working with teams to take the abstract and make it actionable, our guest today on this show, is sharing her message of how to create lasting change, not by waiting for some perfect opportunity, person, or process, but by recognizing that we are all good enough now to create the organizational culture we want. When she isn't sharing that message, she's spoiling her Pug Lab mix, Leo, and listening to Johnny Cash cover bands. Please welcome from Eureka, California, speaker, educator, and would be vegan if it weren't for chocolate peanut butter milkshakes, my friend, Jess Pettitt. Jess, thank you so much for being my guest on this show. And you're one of my first guests for the relaunch. I'm so excited.
Bum, 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 bum. I hope I don't disappoint. I can't wait. Congratulations on
You
your relaunch.
you are not going to disappoint at all because I'm really excited. I know what you've got coming out, but my listeners have no idea. So give me your origin story. Like, who are you? What you do? I know a little bit about you. I think you're fantastic and awesome, but like origin story it for me.
Sure. So it was a cold, rainy football season day in Texas, 1974. I
Picture
am,
it if you will.
yeah, I'm 50. I'm from Texas. I was very much raised by what Texans would refer to as liberals, and then have surpassed that on the left 15-fold probably. I currently work as I like to call it stand up with a point is kind of my keynote style, working primarily with corporate and associations around their DEI initiatives. And I just published a brand new book in October where like our failed good intentions, I think can get rewarded because good intentions are not bad intentions. But we can set up those initiatives better for more success around workplace culture and how we get along with each other across really contentious topics. And there's a couple of those flying around right now. And I feel like we
Little
have a responsibility to be in community with each other, even if we disagree with each other. So then how do we do that?
respectfully, how do we do that?
Mhm. Well, mildly respectfully. Let's try that. Yeah. And I live in Northern California, on a cliff on the ocean. I do not like long walks on the beach because I am an avid indoorsman. Um, but I got the feelings, and that's why I live here and married an environmental ethicist.
And okay. Well, first of all, what is an environmental ethicist?
Ethicist, who knows? He is a philosophy professor that
Oh, okay.
teaches the children's how to have some kind of moral compass about the planet. You know, I
Okay.
like to say every time he leaves for work, I'm just like, go teach him how to think, not what to think, how to
How?
think. Mhm.
There's a clear distinction between that.
Yeah.
I do remember back in college, I never knew until I went back to college, like the second time to finish my degree, how to actually ask questions. And like
Hmm.
that seemed to be the key that unlocks everything else. If you can ask good questions, the
Yeah. Well, and interestingly, the new book, I have a warning label on the front that there are no answers in this book, but there are 489 questions if you did a word search on how many question marks are in the book. Because I think we have lost our ability to be curious. So even asking bad questions is better than just assuming you know the answer.
Absolutely. How did you even get to this point? Like, did you have a job before keynote speaking? How did you
I
go from that to this?
I got fired a bunch. Who, if you know me for 5 minutes, you're not remotely surprised by that. But I ran diversity centers and universities, which I would like to point out during Bush 2.0 were also under attack and defunded, and you can't use these words anymore, and we don't do this kind of work. So we're kind of just doing that again. So I'm not
Mhm.
particularly intimidated by what's happening right now. I'm not surprised by it. I'm surprised that people are surprised by it, but I'm not surprised by it. Um, but I ran centers at the University of South Carolina, University of Oregon, NYU, set up the first publicly funded LGBT center at Arizona State. Then I worked at University of Arizona. And after being fired from most of those jobs, I got a severance package and used it to start my own business because by that point I had just barely enough emotional maturity to realize that I was a common denominator from all of those jobs where I got fired. And I had like I gotta pay rent. And I have no other
Damn
monetizable
those bills, man.
damn bills. I know. So now karma, I am my own boss. And you know what? They weren't wrong. I am a challenging employee.
I know that feeling all too well.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a team, and unfortunately, they have to deal with me. So my team is fantastic until I'm like, I need this done. And they're like, Christy, we need more time for that. I'm like, then I'll just do it myself. Like, no. They're
Yeah.
like, no, you need to go do your thing. Let us do our thing, and we got this.
I think the
Um,
word is called, it's Latin, it's called planning. Should look it up.
but there is that. Okay, so because I know you and I know your industry and your business, I aspire to be more like you in the revenue side of things, like the gig side of things. What is it like to be a keynote speaker? Like a consistent keynote speaker? What is that like? What kind of job do you really have? Look, here's the thing. All you do is get up on stage and use your words. And you get paid way too much for that. So what goes into this job, Jess? Like that's kind of a big
Nope,
deal.
that's it. Really, you just lounge around, preferably on a private island, until you're dispatched to some ballroom somewhere where there's a buffet. It's great. That is not true. Not true. I like to say that being self-employed, you get the freedom and independence to pick which 23 and a half hours a day you work. Uh, I work my ass off. And occasionally somebody is foolish enough to hire me. So I get to like Stive off all this work and get on an airplane and go be delightful for an individual client. And then I get on a plane and I come home and it's back to life, and the jungle is released again. Um, uh, my experience of being a keynote, because it might be different for other people. I live in the middle of nowhere. So I am very protective of client time. I mean, literally, I'm the product. They bought me. So, because I live in the middle of nowhere, if let's say I have a 45-minute closing speech, I'm almost always a closer. So then I travel for 14, 15 hours to get someplace the day before. I try to go to as much of the conference as I can at night, kind of like scope out what's happening. I attend everything that day, including sound check, which is usually at 5 a.m. I live on the West Coast, so I function on East Coast time, even though I live on the West Coast, pretty much. So sound check the entire day of the conference. I speak, and then I can't get home. So I usually stay in the hotel again, and then the next day is 15 hours of traveling back home or traveling to wherever the next gig is, because I try to like link them together if possible, even though you have no control over the dates of anything. And then
Right.
eventually I make my way home. And when I come home, nobody wants me to write a name in a book. Nobody is applauding me. There's not a single standing ovation unless I feed the dogs. The dogs pretty close to standing ovation. They get very excited. They don't have thumbs. And then I'm basically a housewife with a full-time job. So there's a lot of people who can identify with that. So like I refill the toilet paper, I go to Costco, I go to the grocery stores, I process the mail, I put stuff in recycling, I walk the dogs, I go to the vets and research potential clients, follow up on proposals, do contracting and invoicing, and prepare for taxes and quarterly estimate payments, work on new content, write books, maintain a monthly newsletter, do blog posts, pay attention to social media and what my SEO words are. And somewhere in there, I also sleep.
Oh, well, that's a novel concept.
It's weird. Yeah, sure do. Yeah. That's basically what it's like. Um, the pro tip I give everyone is just bite the bullet and buy two of all of your chargers and two of all of your toiletries, including your electric toothbrush, and then just keep a set in your luggage.
That's actually a very good pro tip.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Seems dumb. Why would you need two Sonicares? You only got one mouth. Because if you take your own and I don't know, it's got a charge, you lose it, you go without a toothbrush. It's hard going back to manual toothbrushes once you've gone Sonicare, you know.
I haven't done that yet. I haven't made that leap.
I recommend. This podcast brought to you by Sonicare Dental Care.
Not really. They didn't give me any money for this.
But what if they did? Um,
I'm not adverse to that. Come on.
yeah. So I mean that's it, right? So I mean then there's like logistics of travel, the contract invoicing, um, book orders in advance, playing with sponsors, doing things with the exhibit hall, all that kind of stuff you have to plan. And then that's why when I am gone, I am the clients.
Hmm.
Occasionally, maybe I will do a phone call or a virtual like webinar kind of thing, but I try really hard not to do those unless I'm home. And then the day after I speak, if I'm still in the hotel, or if I can get somewhere early enough and I have a chunk of time I'm in the hotel before the conference stuff starts, I might do some work. I usually try to have a project that I need to accomplish before I get home, just like I have projects I need to accomplish before I leave town.
There's a lot of detail work that goes into being a keynote speaker,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
whole lot.
Mhm.
And something I didn't actually hear you say in there, you kind of need to know what you're talking about. So, like, I know you said research and you're writing books and things, but it's like dive, diving into those subjects that you're now bringing to your audiences and how to, and not just that, but you're also needing to master your style from stage. So that communication style, there's practice in that. Like, how are you different than other people? Like, it's the
Hmm.
same challenges that a lot of our small businesses have. What
Hmm.
makes you unique? What problem are you solving for your audience? How you are presenting all of that is just different than another business is.
Yeah.
You're
I
doing
mean,
it through.
I do think it makes a difference that I don't have employees. So it's
Mhm.
really all just me, which is terrifying and such good news. Um, but as far as expertise goes, uh, I'm always learning new things, but the main crux is really the same because I've kind of picked one. And then I'm all about reps. So I do a ton of virtual things and I make every Zoom call I have, every webinar I have, I'm testing new material and trying things out to see what I want to do. Right now, I'm writing a new keynote because I have the new book. So I'm like practicing on cashiers and Uber drivers and trying to see like what works on real people. So it's a constant.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Small Business Success Talks Book Club segment. We are very excited to be able to bring you a new segment during some of these episodes randomly throughout the season so that you can see that we have resources for you as a small business owner. Now, those resources are going to come in the form of a book, but it's amazing tools that you can utilize yourself in your business to help you think new things and do new things. And the first one up is, of course, Jess Pettit's Almost Good and Almost Doing Good. And it's doing the best you can with what you have some of the time. Just the title alone helps you like free up the pressure of having to be perfect in something. But we're looking at specifically in the area of DEI, which is kind of like what, bad word nowadays? No, it's not. It's still very important to be that, not just have a policy that says you do that. So, how do you be that without all the pressure around you? This book is going to help show you that. I'm trying to get to one of the things that I really love. She does these little check ins along the way. Now, the very first check in, it should give you like, here's the expectation that you're getting into, the personality of Jess. On this journey, there are going to be unexpected turns, dead ends, cul-de-sacs, potholes, and joyous country roads that ramble alongside the efficient path you might be expecting. Along the way, I will check in, offer you a snack, review where we've been, and give you a chance to catch your breath. Then we'll begin again. I will use these check-in moments to provide a roadmap of where we've been and where we're going. You made it this far, and that's great. Now, I said that in my voice. Jess's voice you get from her interview, her personality is going to come through in this, because right after that, she starts a chapter with "Stop spit polishing a landmine." I'm like, wow, okay. There's a lot of great stuff in here. I highly recommend it. That is why she's added to the book club. So these are going to be books that I have either read throughout my course of being a business entrepreneur, or something that has helped me in leadership, or something that's just plain out helpful. If you have a recommendation, please let us know. We want to be able to review that as well. And welcome to Small Business Success Talks Book Club. Tell me about this new book.
So the new book is called Almost Doing Good, how
I
doing
see
the
it up
best
there
we
in
can.
the corner there. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
How doing the best we can with what we got some of the time is better than nothing never. And I use case studies from my real clients where they intended to do good and it caused more harm. And so we break down why did their good intentions cause more harm. I created kind of a model that I'm referring to as the do good triangle that is disruptive from what is currently happening. I believe you can disrupt for good. So that's why I'm calling it the do good triangle. If you're interested in super wonking out, this started when I was in my MBA program during COVID. The accountants triangle, fraud triangle was
Mm-hmm.
introduced in one of my classes. And it seemed strange to me that these variables that came out of these qualitative interviews with Dr. Cressy, 1953, was I don't think you have to do bad. I don't think it's a fraud triangle. I think it's a disruption triangle. So then long story short, with another client I was working on, I went down a research rabbit hole on whistleblowers. And
Okay.
what I realized is that whistleblowers use the fraud triangle, but for good. So then that's when I realized it's actually the ingredients of disruption with the intention of being good is being prepared, recognizing problems you don't experience, which some people might call empathy, or just like believing people, and responding instead of reacting. So then I use that model through the case studies to kind of explain how organizations are responsible for who they say they are to their stakeholders and how they are to their employers, or employees, clients, vendors, and everybody along the supply chain. So
If
almost
you
doing good.
say you're something, but the behavior is not matching up to that,
Mhm.
then this is a way for them to get an alignment.
An alignment would be amazing, but let's just start off with acknowledgement of a gap between what
Okay.
you think you are. There's a great James Baldwin quote that's actually my desktop on my laptop. And it's, I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. And
Oh, that's a good one.
I know, and so timely. Should I say it again? Um, the thing that I think is so important, if you think of like the television show Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
part of the reason that show is so compelling is because there's a gap between what upper leadership and the front line are experiencing inside the same company. If there was total alignment, that would be the world's most boring show.
True.
There's
There
not
has to be
alignment,
chaos
and
for it to be a
so
good show.
right. So then, that somebody made a policy somewhere that made sense on paper, and then how it was interpreted on the ground floor really impacts people's experience. So when you're talking to the founders or the owners that like love the idea of this organization, it's very easy to see that that love does not trickle through policies and procedures and may or may not be shared by their frontline employees, their middle management, etc. And so then that's how you get realigned, right? So that's what the book does, is walk them through that process.
Wow. So we'll have information in the show notes for people to, because it's out now, right? It's
Yeah,
out.
came out in October. The audiobook came out January 20th. There's an ebook as well. I don't
Yeah.
recommend the ebook because there's lots of fun pictures and stuff, and it didn't translate well in the ebook, and certainly doesn't translate into the audiobook. But I am old school. So
I do like a good book
mhm.
because I like to highlight things or circle or make notes or whatever. If I'm really into a book, that's what I do with it. If I'm not, then I kind of skim through it and off, it goes back on the shelf. The ones that really hold me though are the ones that I'm like, oh crap, I got to go do something about this right now. And then I set it down and I go implement and then I come back to it. So I'm excited I'm gonna get your book so that we can add it to our book club around here that we're gonna be launching. So
Oh, very fun. Yeah, if you
yes.
go to jesspettit.com/freebies, you can download all the activities and stuff from the book and see it there.
Wow. There's some freebies with the book too.
Of course. I over deliver.
Okay, so there's something that I know about you that I know that our audience would be just tickled to know.
This could be so many things. Okay, what is it?
One of the things that you've been applauded for it before, and people have just been so fascinated. Why did that work? Because aren't you the one that kind of went viral at this? Like you've gotten gigs from this video of how to fold a
Hold a fitted
fitted
sheet.
sheet.
Yep, that's me. Yeah, you're welcome to give you the link to that as well. I have spent thousands of dollars on very fancy speaker reels and my MC reel, and the video that gets the most views, how to fold a fitted sheet. So when I'm on stage, I tell a joke about how I have almost no monetizable skills. That's not the joke, that's the truth. So I can tell jokes about just about anything, and I can fold a fitted sheet. And us weirdos, I'm a triple Virgo, us weirdos get real excited about folding a fitted sheet. And I tell
That
people,
explains everything.
yeah, uh-huh. So if you subscribe to my newsletter, you automatically get that video. So then
It,
what is interesting and what I have been up to lately, which may be a question you're asking me, but
uh-huh.
part of my time and preparation of my content or expertise, because I talk about politics and current events, I did just completed a Project 2025 project where I read the entire document. I did all of the supplemental research, which was desperately needed because they didn't research anything. And then I have recorded an individual conversation about each chapter. So there's 32 videos to talk about what does this department, what's it supposed to do? Because most of us don't actually know what all these departments and agencies and bureaus and stuff do. What does the Heritage Foundation say about it? And what do we need to do as citizens about this or residents about this, regardless of our politics? And I just put that all together. You can see that at jesspettit.com/project hyphen 2025. Don't forget the hyphen. Um, so all the videos are out, and I actually was able to find like a lot of hope, oddly, from actually reading it. And it is very time consuming and turned my brain into complete stroganoff. But the bonus is the last, 10 days or so, or however long this since inauguration day, nothing has been a surprise to me. And so it's actually helping me like regulate, and I'm able to be much more available to my clients as they're being impacted by, they told us that they were going to do it. We just didn't believe them. And now they're doing it. So I forgot why. I brought that up because I borrowed from the folding fitted sheet video. Spoiler alert, there is a Star Wars theme to the video.
Oh, oh,
So I used the Star Wars theme in the Project 2025 project videos because the original mandate for leadership was written in 1979. So we leaned hardcore into like 80s mall font
oh,
and
yeah.
Star Wars related themes, introducing people to the project and then closing it out by introducing to how I can benefit their events. So it's a marketing piece as much as it is demystifying possibly one of the most important documents our country should be reading right now. And I don't recommend reading it because it's not meant for public consumption. So then to demystify that and make it more accessible is really what I do.
That's exciting because even I just haven't even messed with it. Right now I'm like I got more important things that I need to focus on right here immediately, but now I'm finally coming out of that fog. So thank you for already doing that work for me. I could go check that out.
Yeah, I'm putting all
Fantastic.
the links in here just so you have them all.
Perfect. I'll make sure we get those in the show notes. Okay, so as a keynote speaker, you are already, because you're on stage, an influencer to other people. But who influences you, ideally in a good way?
Um, who influences me? Like as a speaker or content wise?
Just as a human being, like who's been one of your biggest influencers in life?
So that's, I mean, you would think this would be an easy softball question, but I'm probably taking it too seriously. But
That's your triple Virgo going right there.
yeah, I'm really in awe of how complicated people are. And so when the truth of how complicated people are comes out, that's inspiring to me. I am also a super nerd. And so I have done way more archival research. Archival research is when you're reading like somebody's journals and personal letters and things like that. I
Gotcha.
have done way more archival research than any sane human being should do on Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Rosa Parks, because these are people that we have kind of made into social justice heroes, but they were all really complicated people who had demons and struggled, and they were horrible to work with, and people didn't like them, and they were inconsistent in their choices. And Gandhi was assassinated by his own people. Like, how annoying are you that your own people is like, we're done, right? Like, but we don't know those parts, right? We only know
Right.
the like long lasting impact, which has been tremendous. And I'm not trying to make light of that, but I'm really intrigued by the humanity of people, and I'm intrigued by the cop out that us regular Joes use because we elevate these heroes in a way that I think allows us to displace responsibility. Like I'm no Mother Teresa. Well, that's true. I'm capable of making a decision and following through on that. But instead of realizing a strength that I have, I could very easily use it as an excuse that I can't do enough or I can't do anything. And I don't buy by that. So I think the roundabout answer, I think my biggest hero are fallible people who let their failures show.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's the first time
And
I've ever heard that sort of an answer.
I try to be that person too. I try to like role model the like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, I do know what I'm doing. I tried this thing out and it's working great. I mean, even the Project 25 project, like, I don't know how to come up with a small project. So then I'm now like, I stroganoff to myself, and now I have 32 hours of videos that I have to record. And then you got to put them on a playlist and figure out how to tell people about it. You got to summarize your findings. You got to like think about what you're doing. But like as of this morning, over 500 people have watched the Veteran Affairs video. Like, if there is a part of me that feels like I'm not doing enough, I don't know that this is enough, but I can't say that I haven't done something to help clarify to 500 some odd people what's happening or what the Heritage Foundation wants to happen within a Veteran Affairs office. Like, what an honor. But I didn't know it was going to work, so be a normal person. To me, that's what that means.
So throughout your course of, well, one lesson that you already learned was that you're the common denominator. Like, don't work for somebody else, work for yourself. But as you've
Careful
done,
what you wish for, though. My boss, woo, she's mean.
I've told people my boss, she's a bitch. She will not let me take a day off or a
I know.
vacation or
And like,
nothing.
ma'am, just because it's Zoom and I don't ever have to drive somewhere does not mean I need to be on Zoom 11 hours a day. I gotta pee. Do I get a sandwich today? No, I do not get a sandwich today. No, must Zoom, must Zoom. I'm so happy when people stand me up. Anyway, yeah, she's a
Like,
bitch.
oh, I get that hour back. Thanks.
Woo! I get to make a sandwich. Mhm.
So, in owning your own business, though, what are some lessons that you've learned that you're like, oh, we don't need to do that again. Let's try something different.
So I get asked this question quite a bit. And so my kind of like rote answers is first off, the corporate model of prioritization does not work. Not when you own your own business. So what I mean by that is in corporate land, not that I've ever had a corporate job, but like when I think of prioritization, generally priority number one is somehow more urgent than priority number two. Priority two is
Typically.
more than
Mhm.
three. Now, when you're self-employed, you got 98 number ones.
Yes, valid.
So with 98 number ones, number two, you're not even going to get to number two.
Nope.
So I run my business like a Southern dinner party.
Okay, tell me
So,
more.
So I am super old school. Everything is paper in my life. I do not have a CRM or whatever the hell those things are called. Everything is legal pads. So when I become overwhelmed or possibly disorganized, which is, on the regular, I take a stash of these legal pads. Here they all are. What is this one? Oh, I know what that is. That's a different project. Okay, I take a stash. I was like, why is there writing on that one? I take a stash of notepads and I put each notepad is a category. So I treat each notepad like a guest at my dinner party. Now, if you're coming over to my house for a dinner party, like Christy, I like you. So you're probably going to come early, right? Like help me cook, whatever. You might stay late, help me clean up. We all know who we invited that we don't want to come, but like politically we had to invite them because people go and
It's an
park in front of
obligation
the
of
house.
some sort. Yeah.
Right? You gotta invite them, even though. Ugh. So then we're gonna bump throughout the party and like take care of this person. We're gonna make sure everybody has drinks and they meet each other and like, oh, Jim, you have to go meet Joe, whatever. Like, we're going to work the party so that everybody has a good time at the party. That's a good party host. So when you run your own business, you got 18 people at all times who need your attention, And you can't do that. So you have to use the time that you have to bump through the 18 at a good rotation, refill their beverages, give them some food, introduce them to each other. Maybe they manage something within themselves and then they get back to you. But you can't ignore the 6 things you don't even want to invite to your party. And you can't invest all your time in your best friend who came early and is going to stay late. So, whatever that is for your business, figure it out. But your best friend is taking up too much stuff. For me, that is probably creating new content. If I could do nothing but just create content, I'd be fine. But I have to like invoice people.
Yeah, there's that. There is that.
Dumb, right? I have to meet quarterly with my bookkeeper because then I have to send big checks to places. I hate this. I hate this so much. The other day I went to my office supply drawer and I am out of envelopes. Oh. Well, shit. Now I need envelopes, right? So like there are other parts to the business that you don't think about because all I want to do is create content. So, number one, run your business like a dinner party. I think it's the best metaphor, and you can't get away from the people you got to invite to the party because people going to park in front of their house. Okay. Number two, which comes up in number one a little bit, but number two, and my final answer, unless you ask me a follow up, is you're in charge of your own sense of urgency.
Uh,
What I mean by that
okay,
is
don't, please don't hurt me.
no, I've met you, and every one of your teammate is like, Christy, why don't you listen to this answer? That's why I'm saying it. What I mean by this is that people are making money off of me finding this new widget as the most urgent thing I need to be doing. The most urgent thing I need to be doing is my dinner party. Nothing else. But other people are going to make it seem like I have to get a dragon noodle on my website. P.S. I don't know even if there is a thing called dragon noodle, but there probably is now, and I bet I need it on my website. So that is a waste of money. It's inefficient. I have wasted a ton of money doing things because I could, but I didn't have any clients. And it's dumb. So if you find something urgent, then great. You should probably do that. If somebody else is telling you something is urgent, you should probably keep your credit card away from them.
I first of all, I love the advice. Anything that I deem urgent usually is because I have an event deadline to it. So that for me, and usually the event deadline now is like, oh, there's a bill coming due. So it's a little urgent. And then it does send me into chaos because like if I've have been in a financial ditch and I have to like dig myself out of it, those deadlines keep hitting faster and faster. But if I create that flow, it just makes sense. If I create a consistent flow, then I will be able to make steps out of here, out of the ditch, and not like keep piling in on the dinner party.
Right. But I think that there's an element here that is so easy that we forget about. So this is truly how I run my income, business goals, how much money am I making when. It took me several years, at least a decade, to realize that I make up the date that the deposit and the final payment is due. Like I type it into a document that somebody else signs that then directs them as to when to cut a check. Oh, what if I did that with like, I don't know, purpose? So very fancy. I have one of those dry erase boards that has the pockets and stuff, and you can put your chapstick on it right here under my laptop. It's right here.
Okay.
So I use a dry erase marker and I write 1 through 6 and 7 through 12. And then whenever I am processing a contract, I know how much money it costs me to live the way that I want to live every month. So whatever that dollar amount is what I need to come in every month. More
Yep.
than that, bonus. But I need that much money to come in every month. So based on what the deposit, I usually do a 50% deposit or the remainder, which I usually get paid before I do the work. Sometimes it's 30 net, but usually it's before. Whatever that number is that I need to make each month, I make sure that the due date is a month that I haven't erased yet.
Okay.
So, like, let's say it's $2,000 I need a month. Okay, great. Well, it might take more than one contract to get a $2,000 deposit. I don't know what people's pricing is or whatever. So I keep track of it because right now I have one, two, three, and four taken care of. So I am now focusing on the month of May, and I need due dates up to $2,000 if that's my dollar amount due in May. Some people pay late. I'm screwed. Some people pay early. Careful, because they paid early and that check was supposed to come in a different month. So I'll put the number back on if they paid early. Like, let's say they pay 100% instead of the second 50%.
Right.
So then I have to write the number back down again.
Okay.
That is free.
And you are keeping that in your face every day.
It's right there.
Okay.
Here, I'll send you a picture of it. It's not hard. We just make shit real complicated.
I we do make things very complicated. There's been times I've gotten like I don't know about you, but I've done masterminds before. Have you done masterminds?
Oh yeah, I'm in one that's 11 years old and another one that's about 5 years old. I just sent you the picture.
Awesome. Um, and there are times in these masterminds they just keep adding more things to my complicate it just complicates things even more and more. Oh, you should add this or do that or whatever. And I think over time I've gotten to that place. I'm like you, I will have notebooks all over the place. I did graduate to using OneNote. So now because I love binders, now I have digital binders because that's how OneNote functions. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I love that. So I have cut back on my paper, but I love a good notebook. And I categorize my notebooks by the different projects that we got going on. So we're very
Different
similar.
people at the party.
Yeah, different people at the party. Um, so I love that. And I love that you have it in front of you all the time. I used to do that in my old space, and I just haven't found the right spot to put it in
I bought
now
one
here.
of those dry erase calendars where you're supposed to
Hmm.
be able to keep track of dollars. So first off, I have never even written a month's name on it. And the only place to put it in my office is over there, which is behind my curtain. So I don't even see it unless it's laundry day. Um, that is not helpful. I have it because I was told I needed one, but 1 through 12 is a hell of a lot easier. I also think I don't know anything about your mastermind agreements or what your responsibility is to each other, but my language, what you just described to me sounds much more like an accountability group. And you can tell them my plate is full, right? Like there's two really interesting things that happened totally unintentionally. I guess maybe three. I'll see if I have three. I don't know how much time we have. The first one is I used to have a gig in Vermont over the summer, and I was there for 6 weeks. So I would like clean off my desk and my files and things I wanted to read and mail it to Vermont. And then while I was there for 6 weeks, that was the project I worked on. And one year the box got lost. Well, because
Oh.
I'm paper, I don't know what got lost.
Oh.
But what was phenomenal is that for about a year and a half, I'd be like, wait a minute, where is that thing? And if I can't find it, it's probably in that box. Let it go. During COVID, I cleaned out this behemoth shelf unit that is here. And at the bottom, I had one of those plastic envelopes with the string that was
Yeah.
like all these different research projects that I wanted to do if I had time. Well, during COVID, in theory, people had time. I didn't have time, but people had time. And I'd look through the envelopes and some of them I would actually remember the research project and I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, this is a really good question." So then my other brain, because my boss is always present, was like, "Is that question something my current clients are asking? Or is it just a cool question?" Most of them were just cool questions, or my clientele have changed so much. It's a question they're still asking, but I don't work with them anymore. So I recycled it all. Ah, I don't need to do that. I already work like 90 hours a week. I don't need extra stuff. Gone. Poof, poof. Um, Yeah.
How did
The
it
other thing,
feel? How did it feel? What emotions did you have when you were like gone, poof?
it's not a client I work with anymore, is an excellent question. There are a couple of them I reached out to other people and I was like, hey, I think you might be interested in this research project. Here's all the stuff I gathered. It's closer to your topic, it's closer to your neighborhood or your niche or whatever. Would you be interested in either like co-doing this, or do you want me to mail you this information and then you can do it? Because I gathered the stuff, I just never wrote anything. And they're like, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. And I'd be like, well, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, great. Nobody knows we didn't do it.
Well, there you go.
I know. Do I lay awake at night about this? Sometimes. Do I question what was in that damn box? Sometimes. The third thing that I was going to say was when I don't have an assistant anymore because she retired during COVID, and I found out I kind of like, if I'm stressed out, there's too much going on. So if I have somebody else, she might put something else on my plate, and I already have too much stuff. My boss is already putting too much stuff on my plate, so I kind of like
Sure.
not having one. But anyway, so I was going to hire an assistant. So my graphic designer, who's been with me from the very beginning, just on a whim, I asked her, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to hire an assistant. Is there anything that you have on your plate for me that you would want to like delegate to her? You know, and I was thinking like sharing the assistant with my graphic designer who has other clients, et cetera, et cetera. She sent back like 60 things that
Oh,
like she doesn't want to be doing this stuff. I didn't know she didn't want to be doing this stuff. She said yes to it, but she said yes to it because she knows I don't know how to do it. Um,
right.
so then that helped me write a job description that actually helped the people who are doing different things in my business to only do the things that they want to do in my business. Who knew? I didn't know that.
Well, I'm glad that's worked out for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've given us a lot of great advice, great information. Very much looking forward to your book. But I do have one final question for you
Yeah.
as we wrap this up, because it's a question I ask everybody, because it's what this show is all about. What does success look like for you?
Mm, that is a very good question. Can I be complicated and answer it in a real moment that happened in my relationship?
Yes.
So, COVID, shelter in place. I live in California, pre-vaccine. For some people, this was not a thing. For us, it was definitely a thing. I
Right.
have a lung issue. I did not leave my house for 2.5 years. So, one of our closest friends is now 74 and she lives by herself. And she called us, and we were kind of in like a COVID pod. So, like, I'd go grocery shopping for her, etc. and stuff. And she called and she's like, I've hit a wall. I need a pizza and I want to play cards in the carport. And peak COVID, peak supply issues, no vaccine, etc. We did not balance our checkbooks first to find out if we could buy what was like a $300 pizza because it was impossible to get pizzas because
Wow.
no employees, there's no supplies, there's nothing.
Right.
We just said we need a pizza. And we bought a pizza and we went, I don't think it was $300, but at the time it felt like $300. And we went and we played cards in the carport. And, my partner and I have very different like money histories. And he is convinced at any point in time that I'm going to like come home with a yacht or something because he just didn't grow up with the kind of money that I grew up with, or that he doesn't, he's a teacher. So he doesn't say the kind of numbers that I'm talking
Sure.
about. We're very cheap to keep, whatever. And I told him, I said, to me, this is success. Like, this is wealth or success, is that without blinking an eye, we were able to support a friend in a way that's not earth shattering, but critically important at the right time because we were able to, and we didn't even have to ask a question about it. To me, that is success. If I added anything to it, is we go on vacation about every 2 years or so. It's usually in the summer because, again, my partner's an educator, and I close everything down for 31 days and I don't work. I don't think. I don't do nothing. I don't create nothing. I don't write nothing. I don't
What
do
is that like?
it is magic. Now, truth. We did not bring our we went to Spain the last time. We did not bring our computers. I did not bring a computer with me for a month.
I'm still just flabbergasted, but
Yeah.
keep going.
So I wake up first. I'm the morning person. So I wake up and I check my email because I do run a business and I don't have an assistant anymore. Um, I do one of the contractors that I work with, I gave her like my passwords and stuff just in case something happened as a backup. But I check my email in like the hour and a half it takes my partner to like start stirring, and then I'm done. I go get the coffee, I get the breakfast, I come back and we're on vacation. And every year we have done this. I have not turned down work because I just didn't get any work that month because I told the universe I'm going to Spain. I paid cash for the trips. Don't we don't look at prices of anything when we go. We're on vacation. We don't got to do math. There's no math on vacation. There's
I
no math
love
on
that.
vacation.
I
There's
love
no
that.
math on vacation. And then I came home and got back to work.
That definitely looks like success.
Mhm.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Jess, I have very much appreciated this conversation and enjoyed you as usual. Like, we don't talk near enough, but I do love it whenever we do get a chance to talk. So,
Well,
thank
I'm
you.
honored to be part of the relaunch. Here's 2025 served up on a silver platter to both of us. And
Yes.
may it be everything that we need or want it to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And again, we'll put your information in the show notes. People click through, get that new book and the audio book as well. Because why not? Did you do it, by the way? Did you voice it?
I only did like the call outs because my
Okay,
perfectionism went nuts. So the person who did the voiceover for the first book did this one as well. And this book is kind of like the prequel following Star Wars, right? So this is the
right.
prequel that I wrote after the first book because,
Gotcha.
who needs numbers?
There's no math in this.
I'm on vacation.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
So I know I enjoyed that conversation. I hope that you did as well. Jess is one of my great friends in the NSA organization. But the nice thing is learning about the speaking business from the back end of things, from the backside, from behind the curtain, if you will, because it's not all like you just walk up to the stage and talk. Like, sure, that is definitely part of it, but there's a lot of work that goes into building a solid speaking business. And so if you've ever thought about being a speaker, please contact me. Let me know. I'd love to hook you into the National Speaker Association. That association will show you how to be a better speaker and build a better speaking business. So, really focusing on how to earn money as a speaker. And if you're interested in that, please let me know. I am part of it in my local area, which covers Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So let's connect. Let me know what you took away from this episode by leaving comments, which whatever platform that you're on, and my team and I will find those comments and we'll make sure that we engage with you in the conversation. Let's have conversation about this. So also remember to subscribe, to like, to share with friends, all the good things. And we will see you again next time on Small Business Success Talk. I've been your host, Christy Smallwood.